Hey, good afternoon. This morning, at about 6 o'clock in the morning, before sunup, we actually went out on the ground and did an assessment from the ground based on where the flow front was at, the advancing flow. This morning at that time, and about the same time yesterday morning, it had advanced about 300 yards in that 24-hour period, which meant it slowed down a little bit. We also noted just off to the southeast side, the Pohoa side of that advancing front, was a little bit of another breakout that had moved in a lateral position or lateral direction and was kind of ponding on that side. So it was back of, down slope-wise, the leading edge. We did discuss with Steve Brantley and others at HBO that breakout may be taking some of the flow material and energy, and that's what may be contributing or affecting the flow rate advancement with the leading edge. As of this morning at 6 o'clock, the leading edge was about 250 yards from the Apah Street, the roadway itself. And it was been raining in the morning, so no brush fire threat. Conditions were favorable as far as that goes. A little smoky. Fortunately, the smoke is blowing with the trade winds out of the northeast, kind of in the southwest direction, but not near the populated areas, so not affecting the majority of the community. Through the day, as the flow has been advancing at about a 10 to 12, maybe even 15 yards per hour. So again, when we left it this morning, it was about, let's say, 8:30, 9 o'clock when we left the area with the helicopter overflight. It was still at about maybe just under 250 yards from the Apah Street area. So that's it as far as observations. We are closing down the transfer station as of 6 o'clock tonight. The refuse service, the solid waste services will be relocated to the area above the Pohoa Community Center. So Apah Street will be closed to all traffic from the area just above the last home or residence on Apah Street on the north side, and then all the way through to the junction or intersection Cemetery Road with the Gohi Homestead Road on the Pohoa side. That is because there's a lot of safety concerns yet with obviously fire behavior, as well as we do continue to have our helpful crews working in there, working on protective measures on the poles, so they have heavy equipment and machinery, and crews on the road. So we need to make sure it's safe for that to take place so that we can services for the community. As well as we're also monitoring the other hazards such as the methane explosion. We had hazmat go out today and do a field assessment of any sulfur dioxide emissions at the storefront. The readings that they got were way below any health concern, very negligible readings as far as any sulfur dioxide at the forefront, which was expected based on HBO's information that they shared with us and what they expected given the distance that the flow has moved from the source and the off-gassing that is throughout the lava flow movement. So that's pretty much it for us as far as today. Just letting you folks know that tomorrow we're going to be going through the community just downslope or in the forecasted flow path. And it's not to initiate any kind of evacuation, but rather to inform residents in that area the status of the flow, what we're seeing as far as flow behavior and activity, what some of the conditions are like, what's the current advancement rate when we evaluate it over the next 24-hour period, and to let them know that, if an evacuation is necessary, they will be given adequate time. But we would like to also get some information from them as it may relate to, as an example, if they're planning, when we tell them to evacuate, to go to a shelter, how many people in their families, so we can help Red Cross plan for those accommodations if and when we open up a shelter. So questions like that, as well as are they aware of any hazardous conditions on their property, such as maybe an abandoned vehicle that they were unable to move, stored hazardous materials that may become a problem if there's a fire, just so that we can, if there is a way for us to mitigate that or to minimize that, we'd like to do so. And if not, so we can anticipate any problems with smoke conditions as well as fire behavior if and when the flow moves through their property. It's still over a mile away from 130. Okay. Pretty close. We're not going to throw out any kind of a time frame estimate at this point, just because the flow rates have been changing. Well, based on the current flow rate at 10 to 15 yards per hour, And I believe as of this afternoon, the flow is under 200 yards from the road. I think more in the range of 150. So we're looking in the next, 12 to 15 hours, it would be reaching a Paw Street if it stays at the current flow rate. So we're looking at anywhere from midnight to early morning hours and could be affecting the road. So that's what we're planning for. And as I mentioned, we have crews out there around the clock. I'll be out there tonight with the personnel, so we'll be tracking that and keeping tabs on the flow's progress.
And will those crews continue to be able to monitor it from that location, or they need to be moved at that point?
No, right now, smoke conditions on the ground are safe and tolerable for our crews. The winds are blowing out of the northeast. The command post is actually parked on the north side, so upwind of the flow activity. We don't expect the smoke conditions to become any kind of a health concern, but we will be there monitoring that. And like I said, we should have no problem staying right there at the flow front throughout this event.